Pretty intense, huh?
Huh? What?
I wonder if they know why they're all here.
Are they all here for court?
Well, of course, silly. Looks like a lot of people had to come to court today.
Yeah.
I'm Carissa Maddox. What's your name?
Christian Grace. Oh my, Carissa! It's me, Christian.
What? Oh wow, I hardly recognized you. It's been so long.
It sure has. After I left, things got pretty lonely. So how have you been doing?
Oh, just fine and dandy. Got called in for court, but hey, when it's your time, it's your time. Am I right?
I guess so.
Yeah, I mean, it's appointed into man and yada yada and all that jazz. I didn't really want to come so soon, but I got in a car accident. How did you get here?
I don't know. I really wanted to get some things right before I died. So what happens now?
It's a trial, Christian. Don't you remember what they taught us? There's nothing to worry about, though. The thing is, the conviction. They say you have to be in tight with the king to avoid it. So are you nervous, Christian?
I suppose I am a little nervous.
Well, I'm not nervous at all. And do you want to know why? Because I've got the inside info on everything, and I just know I'm not going to be convicted.
So you mean you know
The whole trial is a technicality. They have to do it, but only really bad people like murderers are convicted.
What? So you're not nervous about the trial at all?
The only thing I'd be worried about is that prosecuting attorney. Word is, he tries really hard to get everyone convicted. So what about you? Are you nervous about your trial?
Nervous? Nervous? Why, of course I'm nervous. I'm downright frantic. Do you notice how many Our Fathers and Hail Marys I've said? Not to mention my rosary beads, my crucifix, and my autographed picture of the Pope. But oh, I worry that it might not be enough. Because I missed weekly confession, and Mass was today. Why was I called in today?
Oh wow, but with all that stuff, how could you be convicted? I mean, look at me. I don't have a holy relic to my name, and me and the king are best buds.
You mean you don't know whether you're going to be convicted or not?
Don't worry, this trial is just a formality. They just have to put on a good show for us.
Yeah, but I'm worried about whether I'll have to spend some time in the slammer for the things I've done wrong. I'm not sure I have enough friends to pray me out.
Don't worry, we're all going to be essentially declared innocent. I mean, who am I to say that someone is right or wrong? The way I see it, you do what you think, I'll do what I think, and I'll see you on the other side. I mean, just think, living here in this humdrum little slice of world is okay, but imagine going and living with the king. It's simply amazing.
I've been neglecting my own soul as of late because I've been praying for all those who have gone on before me. And oh, that's another thing I can add. Good things are evening out nicely.
What do you mean, evening out?
All of my, well, let's just call them indulgences, have been piling up lately. And since I haven't gone to confession, I've been trying my hardest to be as good of a person as I can be. And hopefully my good will outweigh my bad.
Well, Carissa here was just saying that the rumor is that you have to personally know the king to even have a chance of getting off scot-free.
Well, that's all fine then. I know the Pope.
What's a pope?
Who's the Pope? If you don't know the Pope, then I don't see how there's possibly any hope for you. The Pope is our high priest from a long line of saintly men, stemming originally from St. Peter himself. Why, if we didn't have the Pope to tell us what was right or wrong, I simply don't know who wouldn't be convicted.
Good for you. I totally agree. In the long run, we're all innocent here.
So you don't know whether or not you're going to be innocent?
Can anyone know? What with all the bad to be canceled out, it's a wonder I'm going to make it. But just a few more. Carry the two. Ah, yes. And I will have an airtight defense on my innocence.
Didn't you just say you did commit wrong?
Well, look, more people are here.
Hello, I'm Louise. You can call me Mo for short. And this is the love of my life, Monica.
Nice to meet you both. That's a pretty awesome bike you got there, Mo.
Thanks. I was a missionary in my youth until I met the love of my life, who wed only a week ago today. by the holy priest in the tabernacle in Salt Lake City and everything. This means that we will be married forever, even in the afterlife.
And every moment's been wonderful.
Well, congratulations to the happy couple. Kathy here was just telling us about all the good she's done to avoid conviction.
Yes, just a few more and I'll be acquitted on all my charges.
But how can you be acquitted when by your own admission you are guilty?
My dear boy, you must not understand. I'm not guilty. If anything, I'm the most religious person I've ever met. How can I be guilty? Surely I may have done wrong, but all this good I've done canceled all that out.
Catherine Nix, your time has come.
What? Already? Oh, surely not. Well, let's just hope I miscounted somewhere.
Come to order. The Honorable Chief Magistrate presiding.
Chief Magistrate? Where's the judge?
This is a determination of your final destination. If you go, you'll be judged by the king at the end of time. If you go, you'll be rewarded by the king at the end of the age.
Oh, well in that case.
Please take your place in the dock.
Where's the witness stand? What about my witnesses? I have a very good group picked out, you know.
This is your trial and yours alone. You will be your own witness.
Well, I still have the right to an attorney.
There is no defense attorney available other than the court-appointed attorney for those who qualify.
Great, I know I qualify. I choose the Pope.
The Pope's own trial is pending, and thus one defendant cannot defend another.
What? The Pope? A defendant? Why, I never...
Your Honor, this defendant does not qualify for counsel.
This for you, Jim, for the prosecution.
Your Honor, the prosecution is also notoriously called the accuser.
Mr. Accuser, you have something to say?
Why, yes, since this defendant is not entitled to defense counsel, I would like to make a motion that we continue on with the proceedings.
So, if I have no defense attorney, then what happens now?
You must then defend yourself.
But oh, this is not good.
Magistrate?
If the defendant is not entitled to counsel, then I have no choice but to agree with the accuser. Motion granted.
Thank you, Your Magistrateness. Now, to get right to the point, this person is guilty beyond all measure. Many felonies have been committed, and to appeal these is most laughable. She's lied, cheated, stolen, and even jaywalked.
Now hold on 1 minute.
She snubbed her nose before, she gave no time for her friends, and cared very little for her family through her actions.
Well, it was only that one time.
Time does not permit me to recount every wrong deed done. But the best thing, the worst thing, is that she has never personally met the king.
Never met the king? Preposterous! I have the Pope's autographed picture right here. This is all rubbish. Besides, all those things are not felonies, but merely minor infractions. All my good that I have done has been more than enough to have wiped my slate clean.
This is an interesting argument. Well, ma'am, answer me this one thing. Does it not say in Article 23, Section 64, Clause 6, that all those righteousnesses are as filthy rags? Wouldn't that mean that you are simply trying to wipe the dirt off with a soiled rag?
How can you say that? I'm a good person. I go to Mass, I pray to the saints, I bear the name, I do everything in the name of the King. How dare you accuse me, and shame on you for condemning me. If the Pope were here, he would vouch for me in the name of the King. My minister would let me in to live with the King. Look here at this notebook. I've done all the calculations. I've washed all the wrong away. Where's the scale? Surely my good outweighs my bad.
Surely? So what you're saying is you're not even sure that you are good enough?
Well, no, you see, I've already figured it out. I've wiped my slate clean. All that wrong doesn't matter anymore, because all my good deeds have canceled them all out. I am a good person. Bring out your scale. I'll show you. Go on, put my wrongs on the other side.
No need for them all, ma'am. Let's make it interesting. Pick the smallest, tiniest infraction you can think of, and we'll add it to see if all your good works will hold to the end.
Fine. What about the little good cause, and my boss didn't know any different.
All right, your little white lie.
But it was so small. The scale has to be rigged. Try another, but put my book on the other side. What about the time I got irritated with the waiter for taking too long with my meal? I didn't say anything. I only thought it.
Now, what was that about your little notebook?
But I've kept the journal since before I could write. It has every good work I've ever done. This scale has to be rigged.
Order. Defendant, do not question the integrity of this court. Continue, doomed.
Gladly. No, ma'am. All your sins weigh the same. There are no minor infractions, nor do you ever wish to outweigh them all. Just a lifetime of good deeds.
Just a lifetime? Then what can anyone do?
Miss Licks, it is clear that you have not read the rule book. Article 49, Section 2, Clause 8 and 9 says, "For by grace are you saved through faith, and then not of yourselves, it is a gift of God, not of works, lest any man should boast." And again in Article 55, Section 3, Clause 5, the King states, "Not by works of righteousness which we have done, but according to his mercy, he saved us by the washing of regeneration and renewing of the Holy Ghost."
I'm done with my games. Answer me, yes or no. Did you or did you not just admit that you have done wrong?
Well, you see,
Yes or no, ma'am.
if you let me explain.
Yes or no.
Oh my good.
Yes or no.
No, I am innocent.
No further questions, magistrate.
You've read the books? Open the book.
Her name is not here, Your Honor.
What? Not where?
This book has all the names of all the people who are found.
Innocent, yes, I know. I must be in there. I've given you my defense.
You have no defense. Your good works have not saved you. Your plea has condemned you. You do not know the king. Therefore, I have no other choice but to find the defendant guilty by order of the king.
How can that be? This is not fair. If you would simply let me speak to the king. I know about him, you know. He would tell you that I would be good enough.
And now for the sentence.
You're not listening. You're really gonna send me to jail? When I get out, gonna make sure I report all of you to the king.
Jail? What jail?
What jail? Where I go to pay for my leftover crimes that you have grossly multiplied in my unfair trial. And believe you me, you will sorely regret sending me there. And when I get out,
Ma'am, in this court, there is no prison sentence. You will not be getting out.
no prison sentence. But the only thing left would be
Life or death. And sorry to say, if the conviction comes with the sentencing, I find you guilty.
What? No! My good works. I carried the two. I'm a good person. I am innocent.
And so goes another poor soul, trusting in their works to get them to the king. Just like it says in Article 53, Section 2, Clauses 11 and 12, if they are not willing to believe what the king has said and want to indulge and take pleasure in unrighteousness, then they will be deluded, and the only end result is death.
So how do you think it's going, Your Manor? I couldn't hear a thing. I mean, it sure has been a long time.
It may take a while to sew through all those books in order to see what she still needs to work on.
Still needs to work on? What do you mean?
Don't you know? This trial is just a review to see if we are fit to go back to live with the king.
Back to live with him? I don't ever remember living in his kingdom before. I just know I will, though.
That's just it. No one remembers living there, but everyone did.
We will sit here as a test to see just how worthy we really are to live with him, and if we are really, really good, we will one day get promoted and get to rule our very own kingdom as a king. And queen.
Well, how amazing does that sound? Well, hallelujah and good luck, and I hope you guys make it all the way there.
Thank you.
So, you two aren't nervous about the trial at all?
Goodness no. Why would we need to be? It's simply a review to see if we are worthy and not to go back to live with the king for next time.
Next time?
Oh yes, we will almost inevitably be sent to a rehabilitation facility to correct any wrongs we have done.
and then we go back to live with the king until he sees fit to send us out again.
But if every time you come back, you won't remember, so how will you know what to work on?
You'll just know. All you have to do is follow your heart, and it will guide you on the path that the other trips here have taught you.
Well spoken indeed. I can't believe all these people going around not doing what they feel. Why, if I didn't tap into my emotions, my speaking in tongues would mean nothing.
You speak in tongues? My fourth cousin once removed on my great-great-great-great-great-grandfather's uncle's cousin's wife's side of the family did too.
Well, hallelujah. It's always a great day when another person finally realizes the gifts.
Mo, do you think you will become a king like the king?
Look at his son, adopted, mind you, but he was the best of the best and he got promoted to kingship himself over a whole kingdom. And that is what we are aspiring to do. We want to be up there just like him.
I don't think he was adopted, and he is most certainly very different from other people to be comparing positions to. That's what the law book says.
No, I know it is all true. It says so right here in my updated law book. That's why we do what we do. That's why I dress this way. And that's why I used to go out and proselyte. It's what a good person should do. It's what a good person is required to do if they intend to reach kingship.
You see, Christian, as long as you take the necessary steps towards being innocent, you can't possibly be found guilty enough for such harsh and drastic measures.
Well, hey there, new guy. You look a little lost. It would be a great blessing if we could help you with something.
Hi there. My name is Ichabod Alexander Isaiah Nathan Todd Scher.
Wow, that's a name.
Well, you see, they're all family names, and my parents just couldn't make up their minds. So they, named me them all. But you can call me I-H for short.
So your name is I-8. Sure?
No, I'm perfectly sure that it is.
Okay, then I assume you're here to await trial too.
Well, I suppose I am, but I just don't know. I was minding my own business, and all of a sudden here I am. I'm not sure if this is real or just like a dream. I must have seemed distracted when I came in here, because you see, I was mulling it over, wondering if it was just a prank or not. They happen quite frequently, you know. You just can't be too careful these days. Who's to say that this is official?
What about the official seal on the wall? Isn't that proof enough? The only one with the capability to produce that seal is the king himself.
That's a good point, but I'm still not sure.
No, really, he is the only one that... Oh, never mind. Time will tell whether there's a hoax or not. There's someone in there now.
I don't know. I'm still not sure that it isn't all a joke. It might be a very elaborate one, but I've decided to wait and see. I'm not going to have the wool pulled over my eyes.
So are you innocent if this is a real trial?
Yeah. Do you have any good with the king?
I'm not sure what it is I was called here for. It's more of a personal thing, don't you think? You do what you want, I'll do what I want. You mind your business, and I'll mind mine, and we're all happy.
But what if what you think is right and what if what I think is right are two different things?
Well, I'm not really sure, but, well, I think I'm a good person. And if I found out this is a real trial and I did do wrong, then certainly he can't. Then he certainly can't be convicted for not knowing.
Maurice and Monica, your time has come.
What happened to Kathy? Bless her, she must have been found innocent.
I am not permitted to speak of what has happened in the private proceedings.
Here we go, my love.
See there, our innocence will bring us back to the king, and maybe even our own kingdom.
Come to order. The Honorable Chief Magistrate presiding.
Please take your place in the dock. Land. All right, so how did we do, Your Highness? I beg your pardon? I don't follow.
You know, are we ready for our own kingdom?
I don't believe we're on the same page.
Let me handle this. They're on my front page.
I'm sorry, who are you?
Lucifer, you doomed. You may call me the accuser, and I'll be serving as your prosecutor today.
Oh, are you the king's other adopted son?
I'm afraid not. I'm far more superior to him. But that's another matter entirely. We're here to talk about you.
What? You have a portfolios and pamphlets, so you're up to date. You have any good deed we've done and any minor mistakes that we wrote in the book to full of sellers.
We've realized the wrongs, and more than that, since we got our felonies, we feel a little light rehabilitation sentence may be ordered just to make sure we are ready for next time.
Yes, it all seems to be in order. Oh, look there. Bad-mouthing the boss.
Mino, I realized it was wrong, but already seen the error of my ways.
Oh, ho, coveting that plush lawn Miss Jones has.
Oh, maybe a little longer in that rehabilitation class. But I did overcome my wrongs and eradicated it by making mine even better.
Well, after reviewing the evidence, I really have but one choice.
All right then, how long?
Oh, I don't think rehabilitation is feasible.
Do you mean what I think you mean?
Your judgment, these two are guilty beyond all recognition, and I move for the death penalty.
What?
That doesn't make sense. Look at all the good we've done.
We've traced our genealogies. We were missionaries.
We were married in the tabernacle, we were baptized, and you know it, back to the king no matter what.
Back to the king?
Yes, we know the king.
Well, that changes things. Keeper of the books, open the book.
No, Your Honor, not here.
I thought you said you knew the king. Must I also find you in contempt for providing false information?
No, we know the king, we just don't remember. You see, we all start our children under the king and then...
Well, where do I start? You did not begin with the king and then cycle back to earth to be rehabilitated. You see, Article 58, Section 9, Clause 27, and as it is appointed unto man once to die, but after this the judgment, there is no second chance, and you will not be married forever. In Article 40, Section 22, Clause 30, the king's son himself said that in the resurrection they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as angels of God in heaven. And as far as being a king like the king's son, nothing can be further from the truth. Those who accept the king's offer become the body of the king, not another king. The king, Article 51, Section 1, Clause 18, and the king's son is the head of the body, the church.
But what about the revised edition? It explains all of this clearly. I just don't see how we're guilty.
There is no revised edition. According to Article 58, Section 13, Clause 8, this book of the law is the same yesterday, today, and forever. And Article 19, Section 119, Clause 89, tells us that the king's word is forever settled. You have failed to understand that the king fully communicated his law and specifically ruled that there will be no revisions or additions. Article 66, Section 22, Clause 18 and 19 says that if any man shall add unto these things, God shall add unto him the plagues that are written in this book. And as far as any man shall, and if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life, out of the holy city, and from the things which are written in this book. Based on this overwhelming evidence, I have no choice but to find you guilty. And with this sentence comes the only punishment.
How can this be? We did everything right.
At least we'll be together, right?
Together? Oh no. Eternal punishment is complete separation from the king and each other. Article 65, Section 1, Clause 13 tells us that you will be all alone as wandering stars to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. To be equal to the king sounds like an account of another I know who will soon meet his own end.
Not before I can take as many as I can with me. Look how successful I've been so far. To compare me to him was a joke. I am nothing like him. I will be king.
You doomed, you have chosen your end by your actions. The king limits your actions in Article 23, Section 14, clauses 12 through 14. O Lucifer, son of the morning, for thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. To you and to all those who desire to be like the king, your end is sure. Clause 15 says that you will be brought down to the sides of the pit.
This is so unfair. Why can't they tell us what's going on in there?
I thought you said everybody was going to be innocent.
Well, bless you, yes. It doesn't seem right that they're keeping it all a secret, now does it?
That's my point entirely. The so-called trial is probably nothing more than a sham. I wouldn't be surprised if you were, like, all in on it too.
You don't seem to be very confident in what you're saying, Hank.
It's all ridiculous. I mean, like, a king from a faraway kingdom comes and puts everyone on trial to see if they're fit to live with him. Like, laughable, don't you think?
Everyone is entitled to think what they want, and good for you for expressing your concerns.
So, you don't even think that there is a king?
I don't really know what I think, really. I suppose it could be possible, but then again, can anyone really, like, know what is going to happen?
As to if you're innocent or guilty?
As to if there's a trial at all.
But you were summoned, weren't you? You are here, aren't you?
You're right. What am I doing here? I'm going to, like, leave right now. I'm not sure what's going on here, and I'm not sure I want to find out either. I'm no fool. Where's the door?
I don't think you can leave.
This is dumb. I should be able to, like, leave right now. And if I don't want to be here, then I don't need to be here.
I don't see why you would need to try to make an escape, Ian. You are a good enough person, aren't you?
In my mind, I'm as good as my individual self will allow me to be. You can't be blamed for being wrong because you can't choose the cards that are dealt to you.
Too true. You won't believe that I didn't start speaking in tongues until I was 1.5, and didn't preach my first sermon until I was 6. As long as you try hard, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be found guilty.
There you go with that trial nonsense as if it were fact. Well, let's say I will entertain this notion of a trial. If it has to do with my goodness, then yes, I am, like, good enough. Do you really expect him to come to a decision based on things I can't see and information I can't prove? That is a fool's thinking, and I am no fool. I figure that if he does exist, he'll be perfectly fine that I kept all my options open and didn't choose anything. I would only be guilty if I chose wrong, correct? Thus, I, chose nothing.
Well, hallelujah. What a wonderful deduction. Your mind works so well to see it all in that light. Why, even without ever not healing anyone or speaking in tongues, surely that's enough to get you through, as long as you were a good person.
So you will plead ignorance?
If this is indeed a trial, I'm not sure what I'll plead, but I'm no fool. I know what my options are, and I'll go with what I find out in life.
Ichabod, Alexander, Isaiah, Nathan, Todd, and your time has come.
Time for what?
Your trial, of course.
Alright. Say, if this is all like a joke, tell me how much they are paying you, because it should be a hefty sum for such an elaborate setup.
Sir, right this way.
I'm not sure about all this, but now's the time to find out the truth.
Go on, Irene. I'll see you over there soon.
Comes to order, the Honorable Chief Magistrate presiding.
Wow, like a real judge and everything, but I'm still not convinced.
Please take your place in the dock.
Okay, I'll play along. This is the part where you'll jump out and yell surprise, isn't it?
Mr. Shirt, this is indeed your real trial. With the severity of the situation, to joke about it would be inappropriate.
I I still don't know if I should believe you.
And why should you? With a judge, a bailiff, a keeper of the books, and your ever so humble prosecutor. This for you do, sir, if you wish. Or the accuser, if you wish. Do we give you any viable reason to believe this is all real? I mean, this whole courtroom is probably fake.
Exactly. I'm no fool. There is always, reasonable doubt.
Of course it is. And everything's relative, right? What could be right to you may not be right for another. Who's to say?
That is what I've been saying all along. Why should any one person be allowed to, impose their beliefs on me?
How is that fair?
Right. So you see my point then.
Very clearly. But for formality's sake, why don't you spell it out for our judge?
This court, this trial, this king, this everything can be, called into question.
Yes, and let's say, crazy idea, this whole trial is real, and you're living with this king dependent on something.
Oh, you mean, how good of a person I've been?
Exactly. You ever murdered someone? You ever fancied your coworker's wife? And say it nice and loud so everyone can hear.
I believe that I've been a pretty good person. In my own eyes, I'm not worthy of, being found guilty.
Excellent. And what about the king?
I'll make my decision when I can get some, proof.
No, Your Honor, not here.
Ichabod, Alexander, Isaiah, Nathan, Todd, Sure, you are then hereby found guilty.
I'm not sure I understand what you mean. I just explained to you how I won't make my decision until I have, proof.
Here's your proof, Sure. Your penalty is death. Bailiff, take him away.
Wait, okay. So I believe this is a real trial. But you surely couldn't have expected me to, know.
I don't suppose you ever bothered to read the book of the law.
No, I didn't know whether it was, true or not.
Article 45, Section 1, clauses 19 and 20 tell us that because that which may be known of the king is manifest in them, for the king has shown unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. The king has made his existence very clear.
Okay. I finally decided he's real too. Surely he can't hold me accountable for not searching him out. Surely he will, grant mercy to my ignorance. You do. Tell him.
Sorry, I can't help you. Rules are rules, and I'm no fool.
That was low to have given him hope like that, you doomed.
If he wished to remain ignorant, then who am I to, rob him of that? Surely the king wouldn't want me interfering with free will, now would he?
So is the fate of all those who choose ignorance as bliss, and do that which is right in their own eyes. Woe to all those who think that they will get to make a decision and get a second chance once they reach this point.
And there goes another off onto a glorious future with the king.
How do you suppose that, Carissa? He wasn't even sure if he believed in a king.
You see, Christian, the way I see it, the king doesn't really care what you believe, just as long as you are a good person.
How can you possibly think that?
The king expects us to be good, right? So as long as we are and don't commit any felonies, then in the end, if someone else believes something different about him, he'll just count all those good deeds as being done for him. Everyone gets a blessing, everyone is happy. What a revolutionary idea.
But it doesn't matter how we think it will go.
Why, all this elation just makes me want to Shalia, Malia, Stalia, Da. Oh, Talia, Malia, Shalia, Stalia, Halia, Malia, Da.
Oh, Carissa.
Pretty impressive, huh? A language only the king himself knows.
Did you even say anything?
Sure I did.
What did you say?
How am I supposed to know? It's an unknown tongue, silly. Usually someone will stand up to translate. I just let the Spirit speak through me.
I heard that one time when somebody said that, a missionary stood up and said they had just cursed in Cantonese.
Don't be silly. It's the king's language, that the king's spirit that speaks through me when I speak in tongues. It's a sign that I know the king. You know, Christian, I haven't realized you turned your back on the king when you left, did you forget everything the messenger from the king said?
That's just it, Carissa. That messenger always spoke of love and acceptance and feelings, but I never felt any of it. All that talk of feelings and spiritual music and a made-up mumbo-jumbo language gave me a spiritual sense for a while, but it never filled me with any type of the spirit of the king. I felt completely empty, and I loathed life. I had left and just planned to end it all myself.
I hadn't realized it had come to that, Christian. If you had just told me.
Carissa, none of it felt real. It all felt like one big show, with all the lights and events and theatrics. I really never thought about the king's name. It always seemed like the king's name was just tacked on to whatever we were doing, and not really like he was the center. He always seemed like an afterthought.
I see what you're saying. But you can never hope to get that feeling if you don't ever open yourself wholeheartedly to receive it.
You don't understand, Carissa. I did do that. I was in the worship band. We led one of the classes together. We coordinated the events. I felt nostalgic every time I came, but I left feeling no more assured of a future with the king than the guy in the mosque.
Well, about that, he might have a future with the king too, because...
I don't think he does, Carissa. Everything you've said ever since we've been here has made no sense at all. And that's why I had to get away. I had made my decision that I no longer desired life. And then I met him.
Met who?
The king.
Oh, but we used to talk to him all the time.
No. I was sitting at a bus stop, ready to move on, when a man sat down and asked me how my life was, and whether or not I knew if I'd be living with the king or not in the end. He opened the book of the laws of the king and showed me that all those things I used to believe in were a lie, and that I can never work my way to the king, that I can never be like him, and that most importantly, there's only one way, not many ways, to him, and that I must make a decision.
A decision?
Yes. I had to admit that I was a sinner, that I didn't deserve to live with him. And then I had to ask forgiveness of my sins and trust that his righteousness would allow me to live forever with him, even though I didn't deserve it.
Well, how did you feel about that?
It doesn't matter how I felt about it. It was the truth, and I finally found it. When I was living back in town, I lived wickedly, thinking that as long as I proclaimed the name of the king, I'd be fine. But I realize now what a horrible mistake I had made. And I am so ashamed of all those wrongs. That is why I'm so nervous, Carissa.
But you're good enough.
Carissa, do you know how I got here in this lobby?
No, you never told me.
I was coming back. I was coming back to tell you and everyone else what a horrible decision we had all made. And I guess my excitement just got the better of me, and I just didn't see it coming.
So you think I'll be guilty then?
There is only one way, Carissa, and I don't think you've taken it.
I refuse to believe that a loving king would give anyone the death penalty. All those people before us were good people. You tell me why you don't think I'm going to go live with the king. You tell me why you don't think they're going to go live with the king.
Carissa Maddox, your time has come.
I have to go, Christian. Well, with all this negativity and intolerance you've been harboring, I hope I see you again soon.
I hope I see you again, too.
Come to order. The Honorable Chief Magistrate presiding.
Please take your place in the dock. Do you know why you're here, Miss Maddox?
Yes, Your Honor, to determine if I will get to live with the king, right?
Since you're aware, please present your case.
All right. First, I would like to make the court aware of my many, many good deeds for the king that I have done.
Go on, then.
I was the lead in the praise and worship group, and I was a class teacher. All the kids loved me because I came up with the best games. I helped coordinate tons of fun activities for the youth, and we all felt a real closeness afterwards. Oh yes, and was very spiritual. Speaking of spiritual, sometimes we had outreach programs like feeding the hungry and taking care of the elderly and comforting the sick and abused. Not only that, I received the second blessing and spoke in tongues, proving that the king approved of my life.
I see. And what have you done for the king?
What do you mean? Did you not hear all of what I did?
It was all very good. I will not deny that truth. You most certainly helped a lot of people physically. But I fail to see where any of it was done for the king.
You've got to be kidding me. It was all done in his name.
taking snow over introducing me, your judginess.
The accuser.
But it seems as though my reputation precedes me anyway. Now, I caught just a little bit of what you were saying, and I thought I'd step in. All that good you listed, wow. Just wow. I just had to come out and meet this fine specimen of society.
Really? Thank you. I have more, you know, if that all is not enough.
Even more? I didn't even think that could be possible. You've already done so much in the world's eyes.
Yes, I know. I can even speak in the language of the king. Would you like to hear?
I don't think my heart can take such spirituality, miss. You can just feel it oozing out of you. That judge just hasn't got enough of a picture of all that you have done. Surely the king cannot deny such an amazing specimen as you.
I just knew it. Oh, the rumors about you must have been so wrong, and I wasn't actually nervous until a few minutes ago before my trial.
Really, my dear? And why would that be?
Well, my friend Christian was telling me that I had it all wrong, and that all my good was just so that I could feel something and distract me from my emptiness. He said that he has actually met the king and that he knows the truth. But I now know that he's the one in the wrong. Right, Mr. You-Do? Mr. the Accuser?
Magistrates, let's neither of us play games anymore. This girl is guilty like all the rest, and she received the death penalty. Let's hurry along. I want that boy.
But I thought you just said...
I have no more time for you. I lied. I lied to that old pious hag. I lied to that star-crossed couple. And I lied to that mindless fool. And I lied to you. You all decided to... You all fell into my traps one by one. And now you all get to pay for listening to me.
I don't understand. I grew up believing in the king. My parents...
I lied to them, and I lied to their parents, and their parents, and their parents. And you all decided to accept those lies as fact, and not bother to seek out the truth. Magistrate, get this thing out of here. I have no more time for her.
Not in the book, Your Honor.
He's right, ma'am. With all your good, you missed one important part. Your friend spoke the truth when he said that there was an empty hole in your life, and what you did was try to fill it up with false spirituality and good deeds under the king's name. But that hole can only be perfectly filled by the king himself. And when you don't go about meeting him in the right way, then all those good deeds are meaningless.
So nothing that I have done? But what about speaking the king's language as proof of knowing him?
I'm sorry, it was one of the accuser's tricks.
And all the others that came in before me.
There is only one way, and according to Article 45, Section 10, Clauses 9 and 10, that if thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Jesus, and shalt believe in thine heart that God hath raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. With the heart man believeth unto righteousness, and with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. And again in Article 44, Section 4, Clause 12, neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. As far as the king's language goes, he understands your language and communicated it in his law book, everything you needed to know. It is not a sign. The king's son himself said in Article 40, Section 16, Clause 4, that a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign. And for your work for the king, again the king's son spoke of this in Article 40, Section 7, Clauses 21 through 23. Not everyone that saith unto me, Lord, Lord, shall enter into the kingdom of heaven, but he that doeth the will of my Father, which is in heaven. Many will say unto me in that day, Lord, Lord, have we not prophesied in thy name? And in thy name cast out devils? And in thy name do many wonderful works? And then I will profess unto them, I never knew you. Depart from me, ye that work iniquity. You see, the king spells out that one way. To not have known or accepted, that means that one either did not search it out or simply did not care.
Oh, Christian was right. If only I had left with him. If only I had seen through the lie. If only I had cared about the king instead of all those activities and signs and shows. If only Christian had...
Get on with it. I'm done here.
Silence, you doomed. One more outburst and you will be next. Charismatics, I have no choice but to declare you guilty.
No, please, no. Everyone else believes like
less than perfection. He freely offered you a way to live with him, but you rejected his way and did not seek it out. He said in Article 66, Section 21, Clause 8, that the unbelieving shall have their part in the lake, which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. This is the warning you failed to heed.
No, 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 please no, no.
Christian Grace, your time has come.
Carissa, how did her trial go?
I am not at liberty to speak.
Don't give me that. Just tell me that some way, somehow, she met the king.
Her trial is her own, and
She was my best friend. Just tell me that it didn't matter that I never got to tell her.
you know how her trial ended, sir.
No, I was too late. Why did I wait so long?
You cannot postpone your trial any longer. Please, come with me. Come to order. The Honorable Chief Magistrate presiding.
I see you've already taken your place, Mr. Grace.
Yes, Your Honor.
This is the last one. I thought you would have been the first one here.
The accuser.
You do, sir. You do.
The defense attorney for Mr. Grace. Mr. Grace, where's your counsel?
He's supposed to be here, Your Honor.
What? No defense? Your Highness, since this one is clearly unprepared, I move that we get this last round moving and continue on with the proceedings.
In a courtroom for God Almighty sits a judge upon his throne. Holiness is all around him as he judges sin and wrong.
I will allow it. Continue your case, accuser.
Thank you, Magistrate. Now, as I was saying,
Satan is the old accuser as he stands before the king with his list of accusations. All my sins he tries to bring as he points accusing fingers to where I stand before the throne.
so you see, this man is guilty.
Behind me whispers, shall I as my Savior,
I suppose you thought he was running late.
No, he came right on time.
Right here, Your Honor, Christian Grace. His name was written down.
No, wait! Look, his name's still here in my book, see? Right here, and over every wrong thing he has ever done. Wait, no! The name is scribbled out, and all my evidence, the pages are hopelessly stained red, and all his deeds are blotted out.
By the king's blood. Seeing as how you have no evidence against the accused, I have no choice but to dismiss this case.
No, he was mine!
You're right, he was yours. But seeing as how he is blameless of any wrongdoing, he is no longer your subject, but the king's.
Objection! This is a fixed trial. You obviously would lean in favor of the king.
I will not have the king's sovereignty questioned in his court. I hold you in contempt. Bailiff, take him away to his holding cell to await his own trial. Oh, and you doomed.
What?
Nothing. That's all I wanted to say.
He didn't get them all. I'm not going down alone.
What now?
What do you think?
I don't know. I was guilty. I am guilty.
That's right, you were.
How can I ever be good enough for God's kingdom? The law book, the Bible, says that only those who are perfect are admitted in.
That's right also. You can never be good enough. Far from perfect. You see, Christian, what countless people that eventually come to their own trial don't realize is that no one is innocent. That book that your name was in, that book that all the others before you said that their names should be in because of their innocence, was not a book that names the innocent at all, but a book of the names of the guilty. No one in this life has ever been good enough to be innocent.
I certainly wasn't innocent.
No matter how many good works you accomplish or how spiritual you are, you can't reach it yourself, and you will never be innocent. You can't ignore it, and you can't assume that because you go to church or claim the name of innocence that you are.
But I met the King's Son, Jesus Christ.
Exactly. There is only one way to be innocent, and that is by accepting that you are guilty and admitting that you can't save yourself from the death penalty. Whatever wrongs you committed, the second you met the King and trusted in Jesus' saving blood, he wiped your slate clean, and you are innocent before God because of Jesus' righteousness.
I can't believe he would do all that for me.
In the Bible, he offers it to everyone, Christian. He also loves them enough to let them choose whether they will love him back or not. Now, after all this, don't you think there's someone you'd like to finally think in person?
I can go in. I can go in.